Good morning. Afternoon. I'm talking low. Sorry. I want to be able to hear myself and my voice. It's a slow morning and I forgot my phone holder up front, so this gets to be it today. Okay. We're starting on... I'm going to have to keep track. We're starting on page 247. Okay. Same book. Okay. At a word from me, Bulger prostrated himself on the steps of Galaxa's crystal throne and laid his head at her very feet. Leaning forward, she touched him lightly with her golden wand and exclaimed, "Rise, Lord Bulger, rise. Queen Galaxa, seated on her crystal throne, bids Lord Bulger rise." In an instant, Bulger raised himself on his hind feet and laid his head in the queen's lap, while the whole room sang with loud huzzas, and every lady gently clapped her frail and glass-like hands, save the Princess Crystallina, who feigned to be asleep. Queen Galaxa now undid a string of pearls from her neck and tied them with her own hands around Lord Bulger's. And so it was that my four-footed brother ceased to be plain Bulger. Then turning to her counselors of state, Queen Galaxa bade them assign a royal apartment to Lord Bulger and me, and give strict orders that the severest punishment be at once visited upon any Minky who should dare to laugh at us or to make disrespectful remarks concerning our dark eyes and skins and weather-beaten appearance. For, as the royal lady said to her people, "You might look worse than they were you compelled to live on the outside instead of on the inside of the world, exposed to biting glass, piercing cold, and clouds of suffocating dust." By the Queen's orders, 3 of the wisest Mickaminkies were selected to attend Bulger and me, look after our wants, explain everything to us, in a word, do all their power to make our stay in Goggle Land as pleasant as possible. Their names, as nearly as I can translate them, were Dr. Nebulosus, Sir Amber Opaque, and Lord Cornucore. I should explain to you, dear friends, the meaning of these names, for you might be inclined to think that Dr. Somewhat Cloudy, Sir Clear as Amber, and Lord Heart of Horn might indicate that they were more or less muddled in their intellects. Far from it. I have already stated to you... I heard car doors. I'm new here. Clyde didn't hear it, though. Now, as you know, the learned men of our upper world have a different look from ordinary folk. They are stoop-shouldered, shaggy-eyebrowed, long-haired, purse-lipped, nearsighted, shambling-gaited, while the only effect that long years of deep study had upon the Mickaminkies was to rob their beautiful crystal-like eyes of more or less their clearness. Now I think you'll understand why these 3 learned Mickaminkies were named as they were. At any rate, they were, in spite of their strange names, 3 most charming gentlemen, and no matter how many times I might ask the same question over and again, they were always ready with an answer quite as polite as the one first given me. They did everything that I had a right possibly to expect them to do. Indeed, there was but one single thing which I could have fain had them do, and that was to look through them. This they most carefully avoided doing, and no matter how warmed up they might become in their descriptions, and no matter how on the alert I was to catch the coveted peep, the inevitable black fan was always in the way. Naturally, not only they, but all transparent folk felt a repugnance to have a perfect stranger look through them, and I couldn't blame them for it either. I despaired of ever getting a cheap I despaired of ever getting a chance of seeing a human heart beating away for dear life, for all the world just like the swing of a pendulum or the vibration of a balance wheel. Chapter 10. A brief account of my conversations with Dr. Nebulosus, Sir Amber O'Packy, and Lord Conycore, who will tell me many things that I never knew before, for which I was very grateful. Lord Bulger and I were more than pleased with our new friends, Dr. Nebulosus, Sir Amber O'Packy, and Lord Conycore, although so eager they were to make us thoroughly comfortable that they overdid the matter at times and left me scarcely a moment to myself in which to make an entry in my notebook. They were extremely solicitous, lest in my ignorance I should set down something wrong about them. For, said Sir Amber O'Packy, now that thou hast found the way to this underworld of ours, little baron, I feel assured that we shall have a number of visitors from thy people every year or so, and I have already issued orders to have extra beds made as soon as the wood can be quarried. Dr. Nebulosus gave us a very interesting account of the various ailments which the Mickey suffer from. All sickness among our people, little baron, said he, is purely mental or emotional, that is, of the mind or feelings. There is no such thing as bodily infirmity among us. Wine and strong drink are unknown in our world, and the food we eat is light and easily digested. We are never exposed to the danger of breathing a dust-barren atmosphere, and while we are an active and industrious people, yet we sleep a great deal, for, as our laws forbid the use of lamps or torches, except for the use of those toiling in the dark chambers, it is not possible for us to ruin our health by turning night into day. We go to bed the very moment the river of light ceases to flow. The only ailment that ever gives me the least trouble is aburifrenosia. Pray, what is the nature of that ailment? I asked. It is an inclination to be too happy, replied Dr. Nebulosus gravely, and I regret to say that several of our people attacked with this ailment have shortened their lives. Next page. By refusing to take my remedies, it usually develops very slowly, beginning with an inclination to giggle, which after a while is succeeded by violent fits of laughter. For instance, little baron, when thou camest among us, many of our people were attacked with a violent form of ibuprofen, and although Master Cold Soul, the court depressor, made great efforts to check it, yet he was quite powerless to do so. It spread over the city with remarkable rapidity. Without knowing why, our workmen at their work, our children at their play, our people indoors and out, began to laugh and to be dangerously happy. I made examinations of several of the worst cases and discovered that at the rate they were beating, the hearts of most of them would run down in a single week. It was terrible. A council was hastily held, and it was determined to conceal thee and Lord Bulger from the public view, but happily my skill got to the upper hand of the attack. Didst increase the number of pills to be taken? I asked. No, little baron, said Dr. Nebulosus. I increased their size and covered them with dry powder, which made them extremely difficult to swallow, and in this way compelled those taking them to cease their laughing. But there were a number of cases so violent that they could not be cured in this way. These I ordered to be strapped in at the waist with broad belts, and to have the mouths held pried open with wooden wedges. As thou mayest understand, this made laughing so difficult that they speedily gave it up altogether. Ah, little Baron, continued the wise doctor with a sigh, that was a sorry day for the human race when it learned how to laugh. It is my opinion that we owe this useless agitation of our bodies to you people of the upper world. Exposed as you were to piercing winds and biting frosts, you contracted the habit of shivering to keep warm, and little by little the shivering habit so grew upon you that ye kept up the shivering, whether you were cold or not, only ye called it by another name. Now my knowledge of the human body teaches me that this quivering of the flesh is a very wise provision of perishing from the cold. And why should we quiver when we are happy, little Baron? All pleasure is in the thought, and yet at the very moment when we should keep our bodies in as perfect repose as possible, we begin this ridiculous shivering. Do we shiver when we look upon the beauties of the river of light, or listen to sweet music, or gaze upon the loving countenance of our gracious Queen Galaxa? But worse than all, little Baron, the senseless quivering and shivering which we call laughter, unlike good, deep, long-drawn, wholesome sighs, empty the lungs of air without filling them again, and thus do we often see these giggles and laughers fall over in fainting fits, absolutely choked by their own wild and unreasoning action. I have always contended, little Baron, that we alone of all animals had the laughing habit, and I am now delighted to have my opinion confirmed in my acquaintance with the wise and dignified Lord Bulger. Observe him. He knows quite as well as what it is to be pleased, to be amused, to be delighted, but he doesn't think it necessary to have recourse to fits of shivering and shuddering, though the brightened eye, true window of the soul, I can see how happy he is. I can measure his joy. I can take note of his contentment. We're in there. I don't have a timer, but I'm looking at the timer on the screen, and it is telling me that it's time. Okay, so I marked where we're going to start next time, and I got to read this little thingy-majiggy here. Okay. Quit procrastinating on anything and everything. Time wasted is just that, wasted. Avoid distractions and the noise around me. Block it out. The art of continuous self-love through food, through water intake, through intentional meditation and thought. Something inside of me is superior to circumstance. Is it kind? Is it true? Does it reflect my authentic self? Focus more on money and its education. Focus more on self-discipline. See the sun, honor the moon. Forward momentum. The path out of hell is through misery. Honor my journey. We are all slaves to our own incessant urges to escape the present moment. Meditate, walk, journal, stretch, love animals, leave life to wonder all it needs. Less stress, more fairy tale. Work on bettering the love I show my body through the food and beverage I put in it. With money, it's not what you make, but what you keep. Focus. Lose any ties to victim mentality. Continue to help yourself. I have my contacts in today, but I still can't read, so I have to wear the reading glasses. All right, kids, our time today has come to an end. And I'm just, gathering stuff. What do you think, Clyde? Clyde Cephas? It's like, leave me alone. Okay. Have a good day.